So it was decided by all the truth community a long time ago that the left versus right paradigm is bullshit. Oh, but they sucked you back in. Good morning, everybody. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Remember when people were crying about Twitter and other social media getting sanctioned in various generally left-leaning countries, so-called left? All these people came out crying about freedom of speech and all this shit. Well, but the reason why some of these countries were sanctioning some of these social media sites is because they saw them as a threat to freedom of speech, or maybe more precisely, it muted them, right? Once the right took over, let's say Twitter, the left got muted. When the left was in charge of Twitter, the right was getting muted, right? So you get this dog and pony show. People don't actually have any values. They're hypocrites. And all that they're really promoting is themselves, their side, their team, looking to crush the other team under the guise of values, like democracy, right? You got the biggest Putin cocksuckers, right? Talking about democracy in the Donbass. Well, the people voted. And then the Democrats, right? They pipe up and say, yeah, under the gun, what about that democracy, right? Everybody claims they want democracy, they want freedom, they want all these things. All that they're saying is for us, not them. So, and these hypocrisies are just so blatant. I don't understand why people still fall for this left-right nonsense. Right? You heard all this stuff about Pizzagate and poor children in the basements everywhere and how Trump is going to save them, get them out, right? Not only did that not happen, now that we have children being kidnapped by the thousands, tens of thousands, the right-wing media is mum about the fact that that's part of this, was supposed to be part of this quote-unquote peace deal with Putin, right? Putin, who is on record doing even worse things than what Biden was doing with those kids at the White House, right? Actually taking their clothes off and molesting a child in public. He and his cronies kidnap however many tens of thousands of children, and the people that care about children getting kidnapped and all this other stuff, well, they're nowhere to be found. And the funny, well, it's not funny, but the hilarious, ironic, I guess, thing about the whole thing is that those are Nazi kids, guys, right? According to you, they're Nazi kids. They're ultra-nationalist, like you. But you're pro-imperialism, Russia's imperialism, while claiming to be pro-nationalism. Make that fucking make sense. Shouldn't you be firmly on the Ukrainian side? Shouldn't Marie Le Pen be firmly on the Ukrainian side? Right? She's a far-right representative, ultra-nationalist, populist, pro the French people, supposedly. Anti all this immigration. Why isn't she supporting the nationalists in Ukraine? Why is she supporting the imperialist, the globalist? They talk about globalism bad, nationalism good, but when we have nationalists fighting against globalists, like Putin, yeah, they're globalists. It's just that they they have a problem with American-led globalism. They want to be the leaders. They want to be in charge. That's the only thing they have a problem with. But this is the same fucking dog and pony show left and right. Let's call those guys globalists so that nobody looks at us and our global desires, goals, how we want to rule the world. Not those globalists over there. Why are all these supposedly pro-European people that are pro-nationalists, like Marie Le Pen and all the clowns that follow her, why are they pro-imperialist Russia and not ultra-nationalist Ukraine, fighting for its identity, fighting for its nationality? I'm talking about the people, okay? Not the oligarchs or the politicians. They have the people fighting for them and their natural resources, right? Can somebody make that make sense? Fucking clown world. So you got Marie Le Pen claiming to be pro-France, ultra-nationalist, all this bullshit. Just like the leader of AFD, right? Super traditionalist, fucking lesbian. And the fucking seals clap. They like it. Instead of being pro-France, this woman, right? Pro-nationalism. Why is she pro-Putin? Who wants to rule the Russian elite? This has been their goal for decades now. This is what they teach in their military schools, military intelligence, and it's been out in the open for decades, if not fucking centuries. But the last of the living Soviets that are still in power, that's who they are. That's what the Soviet Union always was. And they're openly on TV talking about taking over Europe, all of Europe. They're talking about taking over the Arctic. They have military bases in Africa. Hello! I thought we cared about military bases all over the world. They did take Japanese land. They took land from China. Hello? They want to go every which way. Why is Marie Le Pen supposedly ultra-nationalistic, pro-France, pro-you guys, us? Why is she firmly aligned with an imperialist like Putin? Why? Is she a pupil of Mr. Fay, who we talked about in another video, who had this idea of Euro-Siberia, which is just a reflection of Dugin's, Putin's Eurasia, right? Now, the way they frame it, it sounds like they want to be in control of that state. The way the Russians frame it, sounds like they want to be in control, obviously, right? So it'll come to a head. They'll fight, just like Hitler and Stalin did. Why is this rocket science? Why is this rocket science? Too much TV? Too much time on your device every day? Is that why? Too much fucking brainwashing? So sorry to get excited. Well, obviously the reason why Marie Le Pen is pro-Russia is because she's getting that Russian money. Now, there's no incontrovertible proof, but there's some evidence, there's some rumors, there's rumblings that she's getting Bitcoin from Russian propaganda sources, Russian oligarchs, right? That's why she doesn't make any fucking sense. But the people are too smitten, too brainwashed, too unable to think for themselves to figure this basic shit out. Just one last time so that everybody understands what I mean. if you're ultra nationalistic and you're pro your own country, you're pro nationalism, you're firmly on the Ukrainian team, not the Russian team. It doesn't make any sense because Russia wants to absorb you too, and it's an imperialist power. It's anti-nationalist. It's globalism versus nationalism, right? I hope everybody understands this basic shit. So it looks like France is getting rid of Le Pen, at least for a little bit. They don't want her running for president. Was it prime minister? President? Because of, well, her doing what politicians in France do, right? Whether they're on the left, on the right, they all steal the people's money. That's what they do. But because the left is in power, they get away with it. And because they don't want another fucking Trump in their country fucking shit up, they learned from America's mistake, I guess. And they're going to put her in prison. They came down on her and convicted her, right? Now, what's going to happen in the long run, that'll probably help her in the long run, or somebody that follows her will probably gain more popularity, unless the people wake up. Will the French people wake up? You think they will? Guess we'll see. So yeah, it's a small victory for the left. And the same thing's happening in Romania. The same thing is happening in the Philippines with Duterte. You know, few other places. Similar things are happening, which isn't to say that these people are just good, innocent people, right? You hear this narrative that it's political persecution and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. What's wrong with that? The people complaining about that, they don't want democracy, right? Democracy is two wolves decide and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. Remember this nonsense? Absolute fucking nonsense. How could we, and I include myself in this because it sounded good to me, it's a great bumper sticker. How could we have been so stupid to believe some shit like that? When democracy has guidelines, rules, it's the rule of law. You can't just fucking eat people, right? And if you do, that's the breakdown of democracy. The very thing you're proposing replaces it. Some type of authoritarianism. Well, what's authoritarianism? A fox in the fucking henhouse. Like that's any better. And you mischaracterized democracy by essentially calling it authoritarianism and calling for authoritarianism. It's insanity. But it sounds good, right? Look at Elon with his chainsaw. Oh, I don't know why, but I'm happy. It make me feel good. So, from what I understand, and I don't really care to understand all the details, right? Anyway. Le Pen did do something wrong, right? But the so-called leftists have done same things and gotten away with it. But they're coming down hard on her, and I think it's unprecedented to keep her from running in the elections because of what she had done. That seems unprecedented, right? Like Duterte in the Philippines did some bad shit, violated human rights, right? Some of his policies were good for the people, and some people liked it, but liked him and what he did, and it had a positive result maybe overall. But in the process of doing that, he violated people's liberties, and innocent people got caught up, and from the looks of it, he did a lot of wrong too. Just like Trump is doing the right thing by kicking out all the violent criminals who don't have legal rights in the United States, right? But at the same time, there's innocent people getting caught up, and they're not getting any kind of a trial. No one's even providing any evidence of any wrongdoing, and they're being thrown in prison for having done. Not, innocent people are getting thrown in prison. This is what happens when you get these fascists in power. What they do will have a lot of people happy because of the very problems that they themselves, the fascists or their team, created, right? Putin is sending weaponizing migrants, and Marie Le Pen is saying, let's get rid of these migrants and Russia good. It doesn't make any sense, right? Putin's destroying Europe from within by weaponizing migrants and sending all these Ukrainians into all over Europe, not just Ukrainians, Muslims, right, from Africa. And the so-called far right are cool with Putin. Why? Well, because he gives them that which they need to be able to come into power, embezzle funds, and get very, very, very fucking rich. None of these people give a fuck about any of us. They're all millionaires. Why are all these politicians, no, okay, maybe not all. Why are they all million and billionaires? Why? They're supposed to serve the people, right? Oh my God. Why is this rocket science? I don't know. So, the left and the right are fighting. And because the left, we'll say, knows that once the right comes into power, it's going to dismantle democracy. It's going to rule by decree. It's going to destroy democratic institutions, soft power, and it's just going to be hard power, right? The New World Order is coming. So what the left are doing, and this isn't to say that they're always pro-democracy and they're angels and they never did anything wrong. No, but they were the lesser of two evils, I guess. They were a little bit better. But because they understand what's going to happen, right? That because democracy is dying with the power of social media and how all the politicians are bought and paid for, and how Russian intelligence services, New World Order intelligence services, are deeply embedded all over the world now and have grabbed the hearts and minds of the people, have manipulated them so much. They understand that democracy is dying, and they know, if they get their own Trump, they know what's going to happen. So they're adapting very quickly, right? If you can't beat them, join them. And they've always been on the same team, really, right? If it came down to all of us uniting, right, going up against them, they would be fighting us together. And they are, in a way. Yeah, they can't win by using the democratic means because there's no democracy, right? The people are brainwashed. The things that they vote for, they think that they're voting for, the guy that they vote into power does the exact opposite, lies, doesn't fulfill the promises. Is democracy is dead. So they're adapting quickly and using these authoritarian type, you want to call them commie, right? Because that's always been the false dialectic, right? Well, there's truth to it, but it's been communist versus the fascist. The false part of it is that it's left versus right. No, they're all leftists. They're all on the same team. But, there's going to be boss battles, a final boss battle. Once we're firmly out the fucking way, We're all good slaves, ready, willing, and able to go die in their wars and do all the shit they want us to do. Die for them, right? Not fight them, however divided we are. Once they bring us all to heel, then they'll fight each other. And they're always fighting us and always fighting each other too. So yeah, these are politically motivated persecutions, which isn't to say that these people are innocent, right? But the guilty, whichever party is in power, right, they turn a blind eye to their people doing dirty deeds, and now they're using the system to come down on their opposition more so than ever before. So yes, of course, these are politically motivated persecutions, which isn't to say these people are innocent. You know what I mean? And in order to fight, well, if you can't beat them, join them, basically. In a sense, this is what's happening, right? Democracy has failed. People are brainwashed. The media is all bought and paid for. People vote. They think they know what they're voting for, but they're voting for something like democracy is just broken. It's done. So, it's a brilliant move by the controllers. You got to give it to them, because even when it looks like the New World Order leaders like, let's say Duterte or Georgescu or Le Pen, even when it looks like they're being removed, they're losing, the entire machine is moving in the same direction, basically, right? The death of democracy, loss of liberty. And ultimately, when you really zoom out, you see how all of these people, whether they like each other or not, and they generally tend not to, they're all forced to, manipulated, agree to move in the same direction, right? The authoritarianism, New World Order, the breakdown of the rule of law. Yeah. Even though it looks like laws are being implemented, that's when you zoom out once again, you see that, well, they get away with it. So what law? It's not a law, right? It's just an excuse that's being used to go after somebody. Gee, the same way the people that vote for these people are themselves, right? They cry about poor children when the left is molesting them, but when their own leaders are doing it, they turn a fucking blind eye, right? Everyone's demoralized. There are no values left. It's just raw, unadulterated power. So, political persecution, political assassination, more and more wars, conflict, poverty. Just get ready. Get ready, because, you know, this is a time of turmoil. The world is changing rapidly, so, and before it stabilizes, I don't want to say before it's good or better, because will it be? But before things are stable once again, and the battle lines are clearly drawn, delineated, or the powers that be run out of steam and can no longer fight each other, and it probably take decades. I don't know. So, and there has to be some type of peace, truce, some type of cooperation, right? Because, well, they met their goals, right? Maybe we'll have Eurasia, we'll have the North American Union, you know, Maybe the battlefield will be in Africa or something like that. And those poor people are going to suffer the most. While we just sit back and, bicker about what? The poor children in Africa that no one gives a fuck about? Like we're talking about the poor children of Gaza, right? You have so many people talking about the poor children of Gaza, not giving a fuck about the poor children of Ukraine, right? Because for them, the poor children of Gaza is just a dog whistle for kill the Jews, basically, right? This is modern day morality. Okay, enough rambling. Go fuck yourself.